Hey, welcome to Hashtag with Nabuguzi Chiwanuka. This is the place where we help you unravel social constructs, discuss self-development in line with mental health, and everything in between that directly or indirectly affects us in the millennial world around us. My goal is to create a virtual platform for you and I to explore and engage in pertinent conversations society is silent about. What you get out of this is without a doubt a chance for you to have moments of self-assessment so that you can ably jump into your next best season. I am your host, Nabuguzi Chiwanuka, a lawyer, founder, team lead of Equate Foundation, an addict and lover of insightful conversations, and a professional unraveler of social constructs. If you're hearing my voice for the first time and are the kind of person who is not scared of being a better version of yourself, even if it requires you to contradict who you were 24 hours ago, you made the right choice to come on here, because here we keep unraveling the truest version of ourselves to reveal the best we can be in society. To the returned subscriber, salute. You are the heartbeat of this podcast, and I don't take that for granted. On this episode, I am in conversation with the intelligent and beautiful Joyce Kayima. As a Muganda born and raised in Kenya, she shares her experience of belonging to two countries, yet belonging to none at the same time. The conversation is for us all, so let's get into it. Joyce Kayima.
Yes.
I'm so happy to see you.
I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome to Hashtag with Nabuguzi Chiwanuka.
Thank you.
Tell us about who you are. Tell us about who Joyce is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm Joyce Kayima. I have very many names. I don't know whether I should go through all of them.
Take us through them.
Joyce. Joyce, Zarida, Nakabiri, Subi, Kayima.
Nice.
Yes. So you can call me anything. Yes, Hope.
Sure.
Yeah. I am a 33-year-old.
Yeah, looking younger than 33 years old.
Everybody's that's why I try to say my age all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a 33-year-old lady.
Put some respect, by the way.
Yes, put some respect on my name, please. I'm not a child. I'm not a child.
Yeah.
I am from Nairobi. I say that these days. I'm from Nairobi. People say that nobody comes from Nairobi. I come from Nairobi.
Yeah.
I was born in Nairobi Hospital. Yes. But speaking as an African, I say that I'm a Ugandan.
Yeah.
So my background is Ugandan. I was brought up in Kenya. I was born in Nairobi. I have gone to school in Nairobi. Yes, and I work in Nairobi.
Yeah.
I've been trained as an economist and an accountant. I work in the economic development sector. So I work for an organization that works with business people.
Yeah.
Whose main aim is to create jobs. So what we do is training, providing mentors for business people, providing access to capital, and advocacy.
So many numbers, I imagine.
Yes, so many numbers. So many numbers.
I've had a couple of people on here who have trouble with maths.
Yes.
Could it have been the same thing for you, or were you just a mathematician from birth?
I never had a problem with maths, actually. It was one of my favorite subjects, one of my best subjects. Yeah, one of the things I found the easiest to do. I never struggled with math. I never struggled with math.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What is it like being an accountant in Kenya? What is your practice like?
I actually did not work in straight up accounting. So I ended up in accounting by mistake. I would say that.
Yeah.
Yes, because at first I did economics in university.
Economics was also hard.
And economics
for
is
my
a
high
lot
school
of statistics.
Yeah.
And a lot, in fact, what I did was I barely did any finance or accounting. Okay, I did some finance, but I did some accounting also. And I actually found accounting very difficult.
Yeah.
For some reason, even just that simple debit and credit. When I was in university, for me, it was just the two classes I did, I couldn't understand. I don't even know how I passed. And very many people think that economics and accounting are the same.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, economics is calculus and statistics.
And
a lot of writing and graphs.
Yeah.
And accounting is on the other end is just like record keeping and stuff like that. So I didn't know much accounting, but when I finished university, very many people expected that an economist would understand accounting.
Yeah.
So
like, that's what we imagine actually.
Most people think economics, accounting, same thing.
I mean, it's so money.
Yeah. Also, I love a challenge. So it's one of the... In all of my school life, I have never found anything difficult, apart from accounting. So I said, I'm going to
You've never found anything difficult?
Like, I've never struggled with school. Academics was not something difficult for me. But I came and found accounting classes were just so difficult for me.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, fine, I'll finish my undergraduate degree and most jobs that people want. I looked for a job for a very long time, and most people thought that they can hire me in accounting. And I'm like, no, you can't.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I decided, okay, let me go and do ACCA. And
I think it's hard.
Yes, most people told me, ACCA is hard. I'm like, what do you mean? Do you think I can't do it? So it was mostly about proving myself. Yeah. So
how did that go?
Very well, actually.
Wow.
My intent initially was to do like maybe the first 3 papers to get the foundation. So if people speak to me about accounting, I can understand.
Yeah.
So I do the first 3 papers and I passed, and I'm like, this is not so bad. Then I go on, and I find that I've finished ACCA. And in fact, when I was finished, I think I repeated only 2 papers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've told that
they talk about it as a very hard thing to do.
There are people who say it's a very difficult subject.
Yeah.
And they say ACCA is so difficult. But I was like,
but well,
maybe because I went.
No, wait a minute. But for someone who has not had trouble in school and you repeat 2 papers, it was hard.
Yes,
there
it was hard.
Finally,
because there's a lot of like, for example, I failed the first paper I ever did. I had to retake it, and to the multiple choice paper, I had to retake it.
Yeah.
I sat there and I just panicked because in your head, everybody has told ACCA is hard. What are you going to go and do there? So I'm just there like, oh no. So I've sat there. The main challenge this exam is timing. Do it within the time allocated. So it's not that difficult, but you're frozen.
They give you a very short time to complete.
I think it's 2 hours to do, 50 multiple choice questions. Yeah, so I think the
2 hours for multiple choices, I think that's not so bad.
It's not so bad, but you actually have to work out some of the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there I am frozen, going to the bathroom, washing my face. So
washing your face?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I did in the 2 papers that I retook. I panicked. The second paper I took, I panicked
panic.
So
I had
much.
never heard of someone going to wash their face.
Yeah. At the time I was in the bathroom and I'm sitting there crying like, oh God, I can't do this. I can't do this. What am I doing?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so I've come here. I'm remembering how in university I found accounting so difficult.
Yeah.
Why am I trying to do this? People have told me it's so difficult. Well, what if I fail? I'm going to be full out of myself.
Oh dear.
I've thought about all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Panic, like even crying level of panic, and I'm like, I should have swallowed something for anxiety.
So for some, you should have going that far. Are you serious? Wow. Now I'm looking at you when you talk about not having any challenge in academics.
Yeah.
How easy was it for you to figure out what you wanted to be while growing up?
Very difficult. Because I was.
How many things can you remember off your fingertips that you wanted to be? At least I wanted to be a nun at some point. I left it, and then I wanted to be a doctor. That I was very sure I was going to be a doctor. See my life.
And then you ended up a lawyer.
Man, I hated lawyers. You can't imagine.
And then you ended up.
And I am one. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think because I didn't struggle with everything. Most people, you can say, I was good at this subject, so I naturally gravitated towards this particular field. Yeah, for me, it was not like that.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember for us, like say in Kenya, we choose subjects when we're in Form 2. And it's either you're strong in sciences or you're strong in arts. And I can tell you if you're strong in sciences, you can do sciences and get into these fields, whatever. So I was kind of balanced in both. Yeah. Yeah. And so it was so difficult for me to choose, and my mother even told my teacher, you didn't have any particular passion for a subject? At that point, my passion was to change the world, actually, to be honest. Yeah. When I looked at the things that I wanted to do, the normal things that children want to do, be an air hostess.
Oh, wow, you're so bushy. I didn't think of that.
There was a time I really wanted to be a bus conductor. I really wanted to be a bus conductor. I just felt like they have so much control.
The way how you guys carry people, Like
Yeah, so they would have these ticket things that they come and then they turn and they give you a ticket.
yeah.
Even until today, I'm like, let me
You
put
want
it
to
out
do
there.
it?
If you love me, please bring that thing and let me turn it. Let me turn it and give you a ticket. That's what I want in life. And imagine I've never done
Why
it.
haven't you made friends with one of them and you try out the experience?
Those things were phased out. They started getting these pressing things, yeah, or something. And do they even give receipts anymore? I don't know. Yeah. So I just want to turn those things. So I wanted to be a conductor. But
Oh
generally, I wasn't thinking about being in a particular field.
Yeah.
What I wanted was, I thought the world was just so messed up. And that was me as a child. I thought the world was just so messed up. And my dream was to have my own country where things would run the way they're supposed to run. Like, how you can have good roads, good systems, good, like, people, everyone has access to water, electricity, good schools. Like, I thought about all that. So I was like, in fact, I went to look at the world map and I used to be like, where is not taken? I'm like,
which land is free?
When I look back at it, I'm like, I think, would you want to be a colonizer? What do you want to be? So I used to think in my mind that to be so easy, go and find a piece of land, build a community, and bring people. And I actually also thought that we could even have our own language. So I began making my own language. If you ask my siblings,
my goodness,
I will tell you that I started making my own language, which would speak in the country.
Oh my goodness!
Like that idea.
How old were you then?
But I think the time it really came out for me was maybe around 8 or 9. That's
when
it was
really
big. I was so fixated on the idea of just having my own country. I felt like the world was just messed up.
What specific thing what specific thing prompted you to feel like the world at 8? I didn't know anything. I read the newspapers somewhere that Kabila had died.
Yeah.
I must have been 7 at that point. But I didn't know what is messed up. I didn't know anything about services that are supposed to be rendered to us. Like, I'll just go to school, go back home, and that was it. So at the age of 8, what did you see?
I think also, first of all, I was in my head a lot.
Yeah.
Then I've never been the kind of person that fits in different places. So maybe I felt like I'd create a place where I can fit in myself. Like, I would come as Joyce and this would be my place and I can fit in that place.
Yeah.
And I felt like people were not kind. So maybe the people I would carry with me to my country would be kind. People are not kind. And I was like, why can't we just go to this place where we're all kind to one another? People do what they're supposed to do. I would look at, say, the road that would go to the school when I was in primary school. And it was a very muddy road. And in my mind, I'm like, why don't you fix this? At some point, I'm just like, people have to walk through this every day. How difficult is it to fix it? Fix it!
At 8?
For me, it was just like, why? Why do we have to suffer?
Wow.
Maybe I just like comfort, I don't know. But I don't understand why.
Who doesn't want comfort?
Yeah.
Everyone wants comfort, but 8 is quite an early age. What?
I was overthinking. I overthink, yes.
Yeah.
But from that time back.
People overthink, but at 8? I mean, at 8, you're all about who doesn't want to play with me and you're not happy, who wants to play with me and you're happy with that.
Maybe that's what it was actually. Maybe people did not want to play with me and I was just in my head.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because remember, like right now how I told you, I'm 33 and you say you look young. Very many people thought that I was younger than I was. So even my mates did not want to play with me because at that point, age is a very big thing. Like when someone says, I'm 8 and you're 7. We don't want to play together because you're younger than me. So very many times my peers would not actually want to play with me. Or you'd play a game and they would put you in like a position that's not that important because you're smaller than them and they don't want to be around you or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I just felt like, okay. Actually, nobody actually wanted to play this, so I think I had time.
Yeah, I think I had time. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So apart from wanting to change the world, what other thing did you want to be while growing up?
What else did I want to be? At some point, I thought of becoming a doctor. Probably because my parents both have a medical background. So like seeing my father being a doctor and growing up especially when I was finishing high school, I was very interested in, first of all, skincare, and second, mental health.
At how old?
At that point, finishing high school, I might have been 17 or 18.
Skincare?
Yeah, I actually went to beauty school when I finished high school. I did a little bit of a stint in beauty school, but I wasn't happy.
You're all about unique things. The skincare? Who thinks about skincare? That I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe other kids thought about it because I was in my world.
Doing your own thing.
No, I like skincare. What? How do you think about that? Because I feel like this thing of makeup has just come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, people used to do makeup, but now for it to do it as a job, I feel like this is something that is new and it has become normal. It's a new job that someone comes up and says, I'm a makeup artist or I'm cosmetologist. I think those are a few.
Yeah.
But how do you even think about that as a job?
It's just interest. I don't know. It's just interest that I had.
You used to see people that do it?
I don't know how I got into that.
Goodness.
So, of course, when I bring it up to my parents, because the world that they know is medicine, like my dad would be like, okay, so you sound like you can be a dermatologist or you can be a psychiatrist, because that's what he knows. But in my mind, I was like, maybe I should do psychology. Yeah. And it's like, why not just do psychiatry? So that's actually where I ended up. And because of a few reasons, I ended up not going into medicine. Mm-hmm. My sister went to medicine first, and then she diverted her course. And I think seeing her leave influenced my thinking at that point. Because I was like, if my big sister went there and she didn't like it, maybe I won't like it. Yeah. My sister ended up in health. She took whatever and ended up in the public health. She still ended up in public health. Mm-hmm. But I think her leaving medical school, really influenced how I thought about it. Yeah. Because at that age, of course, you look at your big sister and she's the one you admire. So.
Oh my goodness.
So I ended up, actually, when I ended up doing economics because someone said, she seems to be balanced in sciences and arts, and economics is a very good area for people who are like that. So, So I just ended up in university doing economics. Yeah.
And here you are pursuing the exam thing.
Still interested in skincare. Still interested in mental health.
But then when you talk about you wanting to build your own country, well, we have a Ugandan doing something similar to that. Okay, it's not a country, but he has something that he is coming up with.
Like a city.
Yeah. So you can look for a plot here in Kenya.
When I see such things, it gives me hope. In fact, I'm just like, it can happen.
Yeah, well, you can check out. I don't know if you've seen Okere City. It's happening in Uganda.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard.
He's building something.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. You should check it. So here you are. We've walked away from the things that you wanted to be and what you are doing right now. I met you. It's on Facebook. Actually, not on Facebook. I met you through Jagero's podcast.
Yeah.
And I was sure this is a Kenyan.
Yeah.
But I was putting up some posts in Luganda, and you were reacting to them, and I was side-eyeing you.
And you thought I was crazy. I just react to things.
Yeah, I was like, this person is weird. I thought she was normal. She's weird. Why would she be reacting to Luganda posts? Because there were no translations. Like, this person is weird.
Yeah.
But I was like, not to pass judgment. Let me first find out how weird she is. Mm-hmm. So that's why I came to your inbox and, we had that conversation. And you confirmed to me that you're Muganda. I was like, oh, you're actually Kayima, not Kayima. Because that's how Jagero was pronouncing it.
Most Kenyans pronounce it Kayima. Kayima instead of Kayima.
Yeah.
If I'm calling people, I'm like, it's Kayima. They're like, no, that is Kayima. I'm like, it's my name. It's Kayima.
Yeah, then there's like, and then, okay, that's quite interesting because I didn't see that coming. Mm-hmm. So what is it like? You've told us you were born here. Here. I need to remember that I'm not in Uganda. You were born in Nairobi.
Yeah.
Raised here, and you still have the background. Okay, should I say your roots?
Yeah.
Back in Buganda, to be specific.
Yeah.
What is it like? What is it like
a
for you?
lot I can say about that. But
We're here for it.
Yeah. So there's the personal aspect, the legal aspect, like the whole immigration issue.
Yeah.
I can say, first of all, growing up, say as a child, it did not really occur to me that I'm actually a Muganda being raised in Kenya. It didn't occur to me because I think even as a child, even different tribes, I didn't know my friends came from different tribes. I couldn't say that this friend of mine is this tribe and that friend of mine. I just knew that they're Kenyans. I'm a Ugandan. That's it.
Oh, you were told that you were Ugandan.
Yeah, I knew I was Ugandan, but I don't think tribe mattered to me as much. The only thing I knew was that, say, my parents, being Ugandan, did not speak Kiswahili in the house. They spoke Luganda in the house. So for most people, say their parents, of course, knew no Kiswahili because Kiswahili is the language that's spoken in Kenya. In very many households, they would know Kiswahili, and I learned Kiswahili in a classroom. And I also grew up in an area where most people speak in English. So so I think the language aspect is what hit me first. When I started realizing that, say in school, people know more Kiswahili than I do. Like I actually learned Kiswahili in a classroom.
Was there a class for that?
Yeah, the Kiswahili classes. And I mean, that's very helpful to learn Kiswahili in the classroom. Yeah, so that's when I began to realize that actually, wait, my parents they don't speak Kiswahili at home. And you start realizing that some nouns you did not learn their name in English. You learned their name in Uganda. I remember one particular thing. I remember was the time I found out that mangada is not an English word.
Wait, you thought it was an English word?
To me, when you learn nouns, and I know this fruit is called mangada, and so you even tell your friend, I'll tell my friend, I carried mangada, and people are like, what is mangada? And if I was in Uganda, of course everyone would understand what mangada is. But now you're in a country that nobody speaks Uganda. So, and when I found out that mangada is Tanzanian, I'm like, wow, yes, okay. So.
Oh my God.
So mangada is not English,
So you knew it? Did you know it in Swahili?
No. Yeah. So there's some things that people would refer to in Kenyan languages like Lumonde and Mayuni. In Kenya, put say Nduma and Gwashe. And
you had
in fact, right now I try to be like, is it and Gwashe? Because at home you'd call it Lumonde, So that difference started coming up, and I started realizing that actually, there are differences. But growing up, it didn't really occur to me, the whole tribe issue. It started occurring to me mostly when you get to high school, you get to university. Now the whole personal aspect of it and the culture and everything. When people now expect you to start introducing yourself and identifying yourself. Who are you? Where are you from?
Oh.
And so you hear me tell, it's only when I tell people, I'm from Nairobi. I am a Muganda from Nairobi, and I stick to that. I'm like, that's my line. Because very many times people will tell you, where are you from? And you tell me you're from Nairobi, and I tell you, no one is from Nairobi. And so you have to just be like, okay, fine, from Uganda, but am I really? So they ask you, so how long have you been here? Then say, I was born in Nairobi. So you're not really Ugandan. So I'm like, okay, so you're asking me where I'm from, but I tell you where my village is, and you don't want to hear about it. Because if I tell you I'm Kenyan, you'll be like, Kenyan from where?
From Nairobi.
From Nairobi. Because
Oh
most people they talk about their village, and they look at my name, and very many people try to guess. They'll be like, Kayima. Are you Kamba? Are you Luya? Because of course they're always going to try and place a tribe. So I'll be like, but I don't have a tribe in Kenya. I have a tribe in Uganda, but I didn't grow up in Uganda. So where am I from? I'm a Muganda from Nairobi. Thank you.
Who can't speak? Can you actually speak the Luganda properly?
I mentioned to you at that point whether I feel like it gives me anxiety.
Right.
Not that I cannot speak it. I just feel like I'm put under pressure.
To be right.
When I'm speaking it. In English it's very easy to say, what was that word? I've forgotten. But in Uganda, it's just like everyone is listening to see whether you're going to make a mistake. And it gives me so much. So much anxiety.
I can't imagine what it's like. I think it's absurd. For me to compare myself to you. There's an uncle of mine who used to joke, "You're not white, and you're not even a Muganda.
Yeah.
That hit deep. That hit deep.
Yeah.
I was speaking the English, yes. My Luganda was terrible. But for some reason, schools make it look like you're cool when you know
don't
English.
know, yeah, when you
don't even know your language.
Yeah, they make it look like that's the. Then you come to realize later that it's very important. Yeah.
For me, it felt like it's fake. Yeah.
Funny thing is that I take instructions easier in Luganda, probably because my mom speaks it all the time. Yeah, so I take instructions easier in Luganda. If you put me the person who does not know me, like they are not my relative or anything, put me on a border in Uganda. I'll be very comfortable speaking with them in Luganda. Like the anxiety does not check in because I know they are not listening to me or my mistakes or whatever. It's the same struggle I had with Kiswahili actually. Because there's some Kenyans who feel that I don't sound Kenyan. I'm like, how?
When you've grown here, how come?
I don't understand. So very many times when I tell anyone
when you were speaking earlier,
yeah,
you had the accent. Okay, it's not so much. I think I don't know, but I think I was over listening
to see if I have.
I think I was over listening.
Yeah.
I think I was over listening, but I had some Kenyan accent.
Yes, I think it's there, but some Kenyans say we can hear that you're not. Some like how. So
is it after you telling them?
No. So very many times people turn to me and ask me, "Do you understand Kiswahili?" And now it also gets me. That also gets me like nervous and self-conscious. I'm like, how did that come out? Like, why don't you think? Because I think that I have the same accent as you. So they're like, no. I'm still trying to figure that out. So I think also that's, for me, maybe that's a very subjective thing because probably other people don't have that same the same issue with language. Like for me, it's an issue with me that I need to work on to get past that anxiety and stop thinking that people, of course, are going to listen. I don't know why they don't listen to when I'm making mistakes in English.
Yeah.
They don't listen to when I'm making mistakes in other languages. Yeah. So for me, that's probably what I probably need to do. Maybe I should see someone about it. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know what it's like. I don't know. I don't think it's something that you can easily walk away from because it's like they always remind you that you're Ugandan, and then when you're Ugandan, you're not Ugandan.
You're not Ugandan enough, and
And so apart from language, what other thing is it that you've experienced as? What do I call you now? Do I call you a dual citizen?
Which I'm not a dual citizen. We can talk about that because when say we are in high school, and we need to pick universities. As a foreigner, you can't go in directly to a Kenyan university and get like government sponsorship and all that. So at that point you find that you actually can't tick the forms and say I want to go to University of Nairobi and do this course and government sponsorship. You can't do that.
So the teachers tell you this?
No, you begin to realize that actually I don't have a Kenyan passport. I have a Ugandan passport. So
so you couldn't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I mean, you're born here.
Yes, but the citizenship is not automatic. You actually have to apply. And I have gone to ask about it before, and all the years that I've been here, they don't count. They say you should have worked here for 7 or more years, meaning you've been on a work permit for 7 or more years.
Yeah.
And then, or maybe if you've been married, and you've been married, say, I think for 3 years, then now you can make an application for...
So even marriage doesn't give you citizenship automatically.
Yeah. So they'll treat you as if you're coming from a different country and you've not been here.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I remember there was a time when I finished high school and I was so eager to work.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why my dad didn't just let me go and work. Because I would be like, let me go and become like a waitress at Java or something. Yeah. And he'd be like, no. It's only later that I realized that actually I can't just pick myself up and work. I can't just pick myself up and have a business as I want to have. Because
even having a business?
Yeah, because it would be, unless you're doing it kind of like undercover. Yeah, you can't just do it because you actually need the papers to do so, as much as you've been here. So when I'm working, I have to apply for work permit every 2 years. Yeah.
Like a foreigner?
Yes. Because now that's when you realize that actually, yes, you
the
are
birth certificates don't even help.
They don't count. My alien ID. I told them very many times when they write birthplace. I've told them multiple times my birthplace is Nairobi. They never write Nairobi. They always write birthplace Uganda. And I'm like, I take it back and I'm like, you made a mistake. My birthplace is Nairobi. They're like, no, they don't change it. I think it's like they don't have a paper trail of you not being here.
You are typically disowned.
Yeah, so it's like the place that you're used to being, you can't really build yourself that much. So if you want to build yourself, it has to be where you're a citizen in Uganda. So yeah, it becomes a reality when you grow older.
Yeah.
And you have to now begin to identify yourself.
That's messed up. It's absurd. I feel like it's absurd because, you know what? I hear you keep hearing stories about people on a plane headed somewhere, right? And people get instant citizenship because they're headed to that, that destination. Or people are born in America and they're instantly recognized as American. So it's just hitting me right now. Feeling like, because when you're in class, I think, did we have something like, should I have to check the internet? Was there something like citizenship by birth? I don't know.
There are some places that have it.
Citizenship by birth. I think something like that was there in class. So when you told me about your story, instantly I was sure, oh, she's a Kenyan Muganda.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then here you are, you're not recognized as...
I'm not recognized, and in fact, people do not hesitate to let me know, especially when it comes to things like, if you can't trash talk the country. Like, personally, I can't just come and start trash talking Kenya because I get told very many times, and go back to your country. And I've had that taught me even by friends. People you think you're friends with, you've been here, and whatever. And they'll be like, go back to your country then. And you're like, okay, I thought we're all here not happy with the government together. Yeah. So you learn that you actually do have a boundary as much as you're here. And they'll be like, but you can't like this of us. I mean, even if you're Ugandan, that's just across the border. You're one of us. But you say the wrong thing. You'll be told how, get out, go anywhere, even your country's not even all that. Yeah.
Do you have any kind of relations though with Uganda?
Any kind of
save for relatives, but do you feel when you go to Uganda, do you feel like you're Ugandan? These days, as I've grown older, at least I feel more connected because I think I made more of an effort to feel connected to it. When I was younger, I don't think I felt that it was important to feel connected to it, but right now when the issue of identity comes up, the time in my early 20s and whatever, I began to spend more time there. In Uganda? Yes. I think spend more time with my cousins there and all that. I think at that point I was trying to look for like, what is this, and try to connect more with it. So this is, I think I can feel like I make more of an effort to even find my way around. Those days you should just be like, we visit, we're talking around, and then But this is at least you try. Being an adult, I try more to make an effort, to feel more connected to the country. So there's an issue of language and working. What else? Is there anything else that is affected by your dual presence? Because I can't even say dual citizenship. Apart from the work, like what? Work permit?
Yeah, you have ridiculous. To apply for work permit every 2
Why
years.
though? Like, I feel like you've been here.
And they'll give you all
your birth certificates don't say anything?
Yeah, my birth certificates say that I was born in Kenya, but they will list me as Ugandan, so.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I think what really bothers my mind is now the next generation. So you'd be like, okay, so how will my children feel lost? If I get children, will they feel lost? Where will they feel like they belong? Do
you ever feel like you want to leave? It's crazy. It's a crazy question, I think.
I have
so that, and then go to Uganda where, like, do you even, apart from your cousins, because I'm imagining Uganda is alien-like to you. I don't. That's what I'm imagining for someone who has spent all of their life in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Yes, you have relatives, But back in Uganda, you have relatives, but do you feel like you can survive on your own in Uganda?
At this point, I would say I think I could. Especially because after I went to university, of course, university has people who come from Uganda to come to Kenya, and they seek out, like Ugandans, they'll seek out their own, and then they're like, oh, you're Ugandan, and they become friends with you, so you end up making friends who are Ugandans. And stuff like that. They invite you to their community, and of course you don't feel like you completely fit in their community because they went to Ugandan schools and whatever, and you did not go there, but you know they just know you because of the cultural aspect. So at least I can say that I would have some friends that I say even I met in Uganda, no, I met in Kenya who are Ugandan, and I would be more open to seeing what it would be like to live there. When I was younger, I would say it was more of romanticizing it, like what it would have been like if my parents hadn't moved countries and had stayed there. It should have been like, when I hear about the experiences and the schools they went to, maybe I would have gone to like the same kind of school or whatever. But I think I got past that whole romanticizing. Like I've begun to see Uganda for what it truly is. And the other point was like, you know, you're looking for a job for a long time and you're wondering how you're going, because you have to have a job to have the work permit. And I'm like, would I consider working?
So how does that even work? If you have to first have a job.
You first have a job and then get the work, apply.
Why aren't they?
So at some point I
in short, you're a foreigner.
Yeah, in short, yeah.
Like me.
Yes.
What the heck?
It's just that I'm more comfortable. I'm comfortable.
The only difference is that you speak Swahili. Which I can't. Like I'm just learning because I'm like a refugee right now. Oh my goodness. Because now I'm looking, you're making me think through, wow, wait, you're really making me think about the time when I came to Kenya and I wanted to apply for school. And in that period, before Ugandans were coming to Kenya Law School, but that year, they went all out with this thing of, we're not taking any Ugandan.
Wow.
Meanwhile, you feel like East African community.
They always give you that, like East African community.
Nothing on the ground. Nothing of that kind.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I went to Rwanda, East Africa, right? Those guys are not going to give you the job.
Oh.
I did my internship with them. Well, yeah, I think I should be a little bit careful talking about that country before they blacklist me. I did my internship with them and I worked very well with them. But where I was working, they can only take Rwandans.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always thought Rwanda was more. Maybe that's an agreement they have in Kenya, I don't know.
Where I was working, they only, because it was a government institute.
They can only take Rwandans.
Only. Uganda, I don't know. Okay, so a friend was saying that Uganda does the same, but I feel like Uganda is more open to almost everyone because you find different people in different positions of different countries.
And people move there and they settle there.
I feel like Uganda is like a United States of Africa. Like everyone from different walks of life can just, I could be wrong. I have to ask those particular people and see how comfortable they are in the country. What does that make you feel like? Feeling like, you know, you're an alien where you were born. Because I am an alien here. Typical alien.
Yeah.
People speak to me in Swahili like, I don't speak Swahili. And they're like, oh, they help me with English. Yeah. But now you have yourself here. You've been born. You didn't just move. Yeah. You were born here.
I was raised here.
But you're not part of here.
Yeah.
What does that make you feel like?
Honestly, it feels bad. It feels very bad. Even think about right now. I told you before that this is like, this is a subject that would be very sensitive to me. And I would told you like, oh, you know, it would trigger me. But even right now, when I think about it, I'm like, I'm feeling very triggered. Yeah. It makes you like you don't fit anywhere. And nobody understands it. And I know for sure that speaking about it right now, even if people listen to this, there'll be those people in their heads that be like, they'll even be rolling their eyes like, there's really nothing.
Why don't you just go back to your country?
Like, either why don't you go back to your country? What is this anxiety that she feels she's talking about, feeling like she should just learn how to fit in different places or adapt or something? There are people who
How are you adapting where you're not accepted?
I don't know, but that's what the experience is, and I feel like it doesn't feel nice when you don't feel like you belong in a place.
Everyone wants a tribe. We live in we as human beings, we are tribal, so we want to be in a cluster of people where we are accepted. And now to be born in a place, this is like being a Black American in America, man.
By the way, come to think of it, I'm like, a Black American, like, don't compare.
Because these people they're born there, they're raised there, and
they don't really fit
go back to your country. Which country? At least for you have an idea.
Yeah, I have an idea where I come from, but for them, it's like you're being told, they're like, which country? They try and trace, and they're like, what's Sierra Leone? I don't know. Yeah, but it feels very bad, and it feels, in a way, it's, for personally, I never had other people experiences, but for me, it had made me retreat into myself. I have seen them, my family operates. And for a long time, I didn't notice it, but we kind of have this idea that we are all we have, like with my family, my father, my mother, my sister, my brother, like you stay in this community together as if you are all you have, like that is
all. That's the only place that you exist.
Unless maybe it's the Ugandan community in Kenya, because the Ugandan community in Kenya, and different families have different experiences. They've been raised in different ways. But it's like you're brought up in this kind of bubble where you don't look outside, you look only inside here, and these are the people you can trust and all that. And I have found that it's even growing and moving forward has been difficult. Breaking myself away from that whole bubble of my family and the close people that they have decided to allow into the circle has been very difficult. So it's like an intentional thing to reach out and make more friends and trust more people. But it's very like tentative, because you wonder how they're going to take you, especially when we go back to the issue of identity and who are you, and the fact that it really gets to me and triggers me when people start telling me things like, so you're not really Kenyan, so you're not really Ugandan. And I keep on telling myself, don't get triggered. This is all I know. Don't get triggered. Just take it as it is. I tell myself, like, just don't respond. Let it go. And then I think the most triggering thing for me is the stereotypes that people have. So, for example, when you're in Kenya, Kenyans have a stereotype about who Ugandans are, especially Ugandan women, right? And how they're supposed to look.
How they're supposed to
look. Yes.
So how are you supposed to look?
When you look at me and see me being super, like, even my own grandmother told me I do not look like I'm Ugandan.
How are we supposed to look?
You're supposed to have more curves. Maybe these days I have tried, I don't know, a bit of...
To get some curves?
Yeah, maybe these days. But I have been told some hurtful things, like people will be like, you don't even look like I'm gonna... And I've been told, like, even by Kenyans, and that really used to get me. So I'm like, okay, so I already don't feel like I belong. And then I say, I don't even look like...
You're also taking away my real identity.
Even my blood, I don't look like my background, like I don't look like it. There was one guy who told me very hurtfully, you look like a failed Muganda.
A failed Muganda.
Yeah. It took me so long to get over it. I was like, oh my God.
I'm a failed Muganda and I'm not even Kenyan.
I'm a failed Muganda. Like, just because of my body, like I didn't even choose to look like this. So of course the stereotype is like, oh, you're Ugandan, okay. But you don't look like, usually Ugandans have,
Okay, now there are these two things. I'm Kenyan. You don't feel Kenyan. I'm a Muganda. You don't even look like
it.
Oh my goodness. That's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. So I guess, as I said, it can be...
It gets continuous. It just keeps happening from different angles.
I retreat into myself. Maybe these days I try to be more like outgoing and trying to just let it like slide. The way they tell you, let things slide off you. Yeah. Don't let them get to you. Deal with what you need to do so that it then affect you.
Yeah.
That's where I'm trying to get. But I'm like, I feel like I'm stuck at some point. Yeah. Whether it's like a place that's supposed to be at as a child and get past it, but I'm an adult and still at that point and trying to get past it. And there's no one who understands it.
I think when you don't experience something, you can't really understand it.
Well, there are people who have experienced it, but I guess for them they deal with things in different ways.
Or they're dismissive.
Oh yeah, or they are dismissing.
because that's also our culture.
Yeah.
We just dismiss everything.
They're like,
just sweep everything under the carpet. Please don't talk about it.
Yeah.
I kept quiet about it. Please don't talk about it.
In fact, the only person I can say I would say I found understanding, like maybe my younger brother, who finally came out and said, by the way, it's not a nice experience to go through it. And for him, he feels very attached to Uganda. He's like, I would leave this place, I would go and live there. That's how he is.
Yeah.
But he said that for a long time, he'd cut everything off and was like, I don't want to identify as anything. Like, leave me alone, because it just feels
I don't want to identify as anything.
like, I'm not anything. Leave me alone.
That is scary.
Yeah.
You can't just not identify as anything. You can't just be in space.
You can't just be in space.
Yeah.
So I think the decision I made was the first step for me was define yourself. For a long time I was letting other people define me.
Yeah,
so I told
and you're waiting for validation.
For people to validate you and tell you, you're this,
Kenyan,
and
you're
Ugandan and whatever, and you're waiting for your aunties to be like,
and Ugandans are not really going to accept you.
And they're not. So that's what
Muganda is going to. You're going to come home, and a Muganda is going to be like, there's someone not Kenya.
Yeah.
You know. So you don't just identify as anything.
You don't identify as anything.
You are right to think about your own tribe.
Yeah, maybe that's where it came from. So I decided I will define myself, and my definition of myself, who am I? I am Joyce, a Muganda from Nairobi. That is it. Don't ask me anything. Don't ask me anything else. I'm like, because that is the thing you cannot take away from me. You can tell me that I don't look like a Muganda, fine. It's okay. It does not change the blood that runs through my veins. It doesn't change it.
But there's no particular look.
Yes, but there are stereotypes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you're in a place where it's not where you come from, there'll be stereotypes.
Yeah,
people like, oh, Ugandans look like this. Yeah.
The same way we have an imagination that Rwandans have a particular look.
Exactly. And when they don't have it, you're like, but why do you don't look like you're from Rwanda.
You know, because
you tell people you guys are supposed to be beautiful. What happened to you?
Oh no! Oh no! Ouch!
Because people say such mean things. People say very mean things.
Ouch! And I think sometimes you don't really mean to. You don't really mean. The shock. The shock just makes you say anything. It just hits you.
There's someone who watched me walking away and coming back, and he told me, "You're the least Ugandan-looking Ugandan woman I've ever seen."
Oh,
and I'm like,
goodness.
so you're talking now to sit here and even continue eating lunch with you after you told me, like, you're so skinny. First of all, I'm already self-conscious about being skinny, and then now you brought it up in the context of where
identity.
I'm from. Yeah.
You really feel like you don't belong.
Yeah, I really feel like I don't belong.
Because when we're in the chat, you were like, I come from 2 countries, yet I belong to none. Ouch. Ouch, that hurt. Like, ouch. I don't know what it's like. But okay, I've been reading mostly about the black people in America, their experiences. So when you say that, I was like, ouch, this is even happening down here. It was painful.
Yeah.
How are you coping? How do you manage to cope? How do you check with your mental health with all these things happening around you?
In fact, now when I'm thinking about it, maybe I've not thought about it as affecting my mental health a lot.
Yeah.
But now I'm speaking about it here in public.
Now
I'm feeling like I'm putting myself out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the reaction is going to be to my experience. I'm like, I think maybe it has affected a lot of who I am and how I interact with people. And I always say I'm very shy and very anxious. And I think that has contributed a lot to it.
The anxiety.
Yeah.
Always wondering, okay, are they going to accept me? Are they going to...
Or am I enough for this situation?
Am I as a Kenyan?
Because it's always performative.
Yeah.
Like, go and introduce yourself there. And then, so it's always like, okay, so I have to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually thinking about it right now...
I hadn't even thought about it in that light.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe it has had a very big effect on the way I feel about myself as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Maybe I should. Another thing I need to get past. Sometimes I ask myself, will I ever grow and get past it? Because it feels like being stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And I tell myself, I wouldn't want to get children and pass this down to them. Because whatever complexes you have, they're kind of going to be passed down to your children.
Children are usually our reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. Wow. So there are no moments like you just said you've just thought about it and you realize it actually affects you.
Yeah.
That question would have been for someone that realized it a long time ago and they've possibly come up with coping mechanisms. But I hope you managed to find them.
I always hope and pray that I manage to find what are coping mechanisms. Like, get comfortable
with who you are.
Who I am.
I think it's powerful where you say that you're learning to identify yourself. Because I think those things that are related to someone waiting for them to be identified by other people, they're the root cause of some issues of anxiety and things related to mental health. Wow.
Because I can find myself being like, of course, sometimes someone can make a comment or do something or make you feel like you're on the outside, and they don't realize that they've done that.
They don't.
And you're angry. You're angry at someone here who died when you remember what they said to you. Yeah. You're angry at your relative, and you're like, I'm not even speaking to them anymore. And they don't even know that they offended you. Yeah. So
they're usually on a light
just
note.
Trying to protect your space. And for them, it's just like,
they don't think through stuff.
Yeah.
And generally, without thinking about being a person of two countries, yet a person of none, is there a general way of how you check with your mental health?
Well, I see a therapist. I go for therapy. Okay, at least I can say this is every 2 months.
Yeah.
Because I was dealing with so many other things, I guess, but would not know the root cause of all those things.
Yeah.
But I will admit that I'm one of those people that is not completely honest with my therapist. I went and gave her parameters. I will not talk about this, I'll talk about this and whatever. I'm here and I'll talk about work. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable because I don't know. I'm still getting to the point.
I've been there. Let me tell you something about not being honest with a therapist. Okay, personally, I didn't know it was a therapist. They didn't tell me anything. It was actually a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
I knew she was a psychiatrist. I was about 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 16 at that time. I got placed with a psychiatrist, but I wasn't told why. Mom just said, when you ever feel like talking to someone, go and talk to her.
Oh, okay.
I made her a hangout buddy. And I didn't tell her anything that was affecting me. Because now for me, growing up, I wasn't the kind of person who talks about stuff. I was always silent with myself. Now, because this lady, I don't even think she did anything with me. I don't think she tried to joggle my mind. She didn't do nothing. Because I think if she had, I would have said something. She asked me questions and I was like, nah, I'm okay. I thought I had gotten a chat buddy. They didn't tell me why I was seeing her.
Yeah.
And then in the end, because she couldn't find anything, which I found, like, I went back last year. I was checking with my mental health and I was like, where did this thing come from? I don't just come out of nowhere and start talking about mental health. Let's check, where did this thing start from? And then I was like, wait, I was placed with a psychiatrist at 16. I knew, but then I was like, wait, what was that?
Yeah.
You know? And then I realized I wasn't telling anything to her that maybe she could have helped with, but because she didn't, I feel like she didn't do her job. I really feel like she didn't do her job.
Yeah.
So because she felt like I had no problem, and before I saw her, I was on medication. Before I got into, I've even lost now. I don't know what I'm saying, but she felt like I didn't have any problem.
Okay.
And she was like, you know what? You need to stop wasting your mother's money and get off that medication. Get serious with your books. Now for me, first of all, I didn't know why I was taking that medication.
Yeah.
I know I'm someone who has been taking medicine. I know I take this for asthma. I know I take this for this. That is the first medicine in my life I was taking without knowing why I was taking it.
Yeah.
Now here she is saying, get off that medication. Stop wasting your mother's money. I'm like, what? It didn't make sense. Now it's last year and I was like, wait. And now that triggered me because I was like, how'd you just leave a child like that? So I feel like, or it's actually the truth, when you're not honest with the people that are qualified, I wouldn't think she was professional though.
Yeah, there's another way to.
That one wasn't professional.
Yeah.
I tried to look for her to trash her, but I couldn't find her anywhere.
You don't remember her name?
I tried to, because I know her name. I know her full name. I tried to look for her online, but I couldn't find her. I wanted to trash her, like, what did you do a couple of years ago? That was long. But then, you don't trust your therapist?
Myself.
You don't trust
I don't know.
Or you don't just trust people generally?
I don't trust people generally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, what if I tell you something, you judge me and think I'm just so messed up and unhelpable.
when you have a therapist that trashes you, you walk away and find another one. That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
because there are people that are very well with their job.
Yeah.
They will do it. They will help you through things, process stuff. The very first therapist I saw, the very first time I got vulnerable before someone, like really vulnerable before someone, was last year. And I was like, wow, that felt good.
Was this a therapist or just?
Yeah, she was a therapist. I was like, wow. Because now what happened when I was trying to dig back the years, like where did this start from? I went into a crisis.
Yeah.
Now everything started coming to life. Like everything started making sense. I was like, wait, this happened. It was a total mess. And I'm glad I managed to get a therapist at that time. And then I went to see her and she was just nodding her head. And I was telling everything from as early as the age of 6. Yeah. So much release. And it helps, trust me.
So it's just finding your person that you can be vulnerable with.
And that's what therapists mostly are qualified to do.
Yeah.
You can even walk away from them and like leave them with your baggage, like you won't see me again even.
Yeah, that's true. Although sometimes I feel like, because I come and talk about it.
Yeah.
Like right now when I'm speaking to you, it feels like, you've been in a therapy session. So this is how I would speak. And then I will feel like, so there are sometimes you will feel like you need to talk about something over and over again before you get past it. So I say if I come and have the conversation with you again, I still feel stuck. I still feel like my identity and I would feel like the therapist would get tired and they'd be like, why can't you just get past it, They help us identify our emotions, because sometimes, we're not really into the culture of exploring emotions. Yeah.
So it's like they help you identify them. Because now what happened with me with the therapist, I think, was it the first or second session, she got something like a coffin. Look at your face. And she opened it. It was orange, like something small, plastic material. She opened it and there were different kinds of stones. So she was like, I want you to arrange this. I don't even remember very well. All I know is that I was much better when I left her.
Now this is the most recent.
Yes, that's the most. Oh, the woman didn't do anything. She
Okay.
didn't do anything.
Uh-huh.
Nothing.
So this whole arranging stone
She was
thing,
like, I don't even.
it worked.
I swear, I don't know what she said. I don't remember. But she was more like, these are different kinds of emotions. And then I think there was a crystal-like stone. And she was like, you see this? This is the precious stone that you have not yet explored. Yeah.
Okay. I need someone like that in my life. maybe
Okay, I think
had,
the practices are different.
yeah,
I
they're
think.
different.
People
Maybe the
figure
one I
out.
had helped me deal with some things that maybe I need to find someone else who will help me deal with other
You
things.
feel like the one that you have can't really help you with.
Maybe we got to a point that
What you saying
because
then?
in the beginning, yeah, it was very helpful, but at some point, whether there's nothing to talk about, it's just that am I
You're not
willing?
saying.
Yeah, am I willing to talk about it? She'll be like, how are you? And I'll be like, I'm fine. Then I'll ask her, how are you?
Do they ever tell?
Sometimes they start talking and then they realize that, by the way, wait, it's not my
I
session,
think
it's yours.
sometimes they never tell. Yeah.
Yeah. So at some point it's like, yes, there's things to talk about, but I don't know if I can should I tell you that? You know. Yeah. Because sometimes you can find you go into with someone who has they are Christian like you, and maybe what you're going to tell is not very Christian.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, okay,
yeah.
you're going to hold me accountable for what I'm about to tell you.
I think they stick to their professions than religion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you can find someone.
Maybe I can find someone. I have very many hang-ups. I think this has revealed
You can find someone
many hang-ups
that can help you dig into yourself.
I need that. I actually need that because I feel like time is passing.
No, there is
And
no
probably-
specific time for healing.
Yeah, there's no specific time. And in a way, it keeps you stuck in a place that you will need. Because with something as simple as moving out to my parents' house, it's a whole thing. Like, because you feel that this is the safe space, and
This is
for
the
a
safest
long
place,
time,
yeah.
say if my dad applies for a work permit and we're all under his work permit, so it's like you feel like you need to stay here. That's where your safety is. Yeah. So moving away from that is very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. They actually have to explore that and see how
You
do
can-
I do this?
They can help.
Build your own life and all that.
I'm sure you can find one who will help you. I believe they are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look in Nairobi and find. If I don't find, I'll come for yours and I'll be like, do you do online sessions?
We can possibly figure it out and see what we can do about it.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful that you'll get past it. I'm
Me
very
too,
much
me
hopeful.
too, me too.
I'm sure.
Having
you
more
actually-
friends like you maybe will help me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're very understanding, I guess.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you seem to be like a very understanding person. When I look at you, like I would judge you to be maybe the most like a stickler for how things are supposed to be. Like that's how.
I do that, I actually.
So there's actually to be
Okay,
the
I think
most,
I'm
like,
confusing even for myself. Like sometimes I feel like I'm the most liberal person, but then when I think back, I'm like, you're not liberal at all. Yeah.
No, but I find you one like the most understanding people. So maybe having more friends like you will help.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But don't define it because
to drop my guard a little bit. No, because your guard has to drop. In a way, yeah. To let someone see you and to be comfortable. To just be who you are in all aspects. To make mistakes and be accepted for the mistakes that you make and all that. Yeah. And not judge each other and all that, yeah.
we can tick off this friendship. Aren't we already friends though? I think you're already friends. You can
Now
work
that we've
it
done
out.
the podcast.
Oh no, but we were before.
We were
Oh,
friends.
come on. Why are you doing that?
Even I'm so happy I accepted your friend request because usually
Yeah.
I don't accept people that I don't know. But when I saw you, for some reason I saw you commenting on that, like the podcast in the comment section.
Yeah.
And you're like, this person reminds me of me, and I'm like, okay. Then I see your friend request, and I'm like, okay, let me accept.
Yeah.
And usually, I'm that kind of person. Like, I'm not going to accept, but I do not know. I'm like, who is she? Is she? In fact, one of the thoughts that crossed my mind, like, is she one of these Ugandan ladies that's going to come here and start judging me for who I am and who I'm not?
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, let me try accept.
Let me try. Yeah.
And I'm happy I did.
I'm happy that you did.
Yeah, I did.
Look at us now. I wouldn't have met you if you hadn't. Sad.
Yeah.
It's very good to have you on the podcast.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for sharing with us your vulnerability. It's courage.
It is. I feel like saying, okay, I retract this statement. Yeah, because it feels like I've just said so much. I'm just like, who is going to listen to this?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it has to be said, and maybe someone out there is feeling the same way that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll know that they're not alone in the way that they're feeling, that someone else understands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not
someone
the one
that they can relate with.
Because I told I didn't want to come here and just go on and on and on about baggage. I just want to talk about my experience.
Yeah.
But baggage is there.
Baggage is alright. We all have our own kinds of baggages.
And the truth is, I mean, there are positive aspects to having both sides. You just need to learn like the cultures. Like one very interesting thing that you realize that in most Kenyan cultures, the adult greets the child. But for us, the child greets the adult. The
adult does what?
The adult greets the child. Like if I'm passing, I'll greet her. The child will wait for me to say hello to them. But for us, the child greets the adult.
For the Ganda?
Yes.
The Ganda, it's the child that has to
greet.
The
child will approach and greet, because if you don't greet, it's you who is mannerless, who raised you, you know.
So here it's different?
Here it's the other way around. No children will stare at you. So it's something I actually had to learn. I like myself, like growing up, because I've grown up in this culture, you realize that actually, so you ask them, I'm like, these children, they don't have manners. Like children here don't greet. Then you realize that actually in their culture, you actually have to approach and be like, hi, how are you? Then they'll tell you fine, because I don't know whether it's being too bold to approach another. I don't know. Yeah. So you get to learn all these things.
It's not a tribal thing, like maybe it's the Luo that do it, or the Kikuyus, or... It
might be a tribal thing, I don't know. Actually,
I've seen
it a lot, but you might say, Kikuyu culture has a lot of influence in Nairobi. So it might be Kikuyu culture, I don't know. Yeah. So you learn different cultures and you learn how to just deal with it and realize that people are not trying to offend you by not greeting you. They're just, for them, they're not trying to offend you. They are not mannerless
Don't
children.
take it personal.
Yeah. I remember the time I told my mother, after being here for so many years, and she was like, people here, their culture. And I told her, you've been here for so many years. Yeah. You need to adapt to their culture.
Oh, she's still
like,
stuck.
She's still stuck. Very many of our parents, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Like when the Ghana community in Kenya, very many of our parents had this fantasy that we would all marry each other. Like we would all go to Uganda and marry Muganda. In fact, my mother would always tell me, Joyce, marry a Muganda, at least you know what you're getting into. Other tribes, you don't know what they have.
But you can't
but
know.
At least
let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about that.
Yeah.
You still can't know.
You still can't know.
What you get. Because you don't know the practices back at home.
Yes.
You're not very much exposed to them.
Yes. And also that aspect, you know the good side. You know the Christian side, that what you're exposed to. Definitely, I will not know curse words in Uganda. No, who's going to teach them?
Look at yourself. Why are you going as far as curse words? Do you need them?
You don't.
Are they a basic need?
They're not a basic need. But the thing is, I think like for our parents, they have like I have a friend who they moved here some years back. A Ugandan lady, and for her children are still younger, and she has that fantasy of my children will marry Ugandans. I'm like, She's like, we're going to move back. I'm like, when?
When?
Like, you just go with the flow. You never know what's going to happen. Your children might marry Ugandans. They might. They might go and work in Uganda. They might, because there are very many who actually relocate. And I know a number who have gone and they've worked there. They grew up in Nairobi, but they end up working back in Uganda and all that. It happens.
Yeah.
But don't get fixated on that. Because there's this fantasy of you will come and we'll get you someone. And
we'll get you someone.
You even see the families where they bring their son and they're like, I see this guy, which is my good family, and the Kayimas, they're so good. And
oh my goodness.
My son can marry. And then for you look at this boy as he's like your brother, because you've just been brought up in the same community here. You never thought there would be an expectation of marriage, but so it gets very interesting. Yeah,
it's a lot of work. What kind of message would you want to leave for us related to that, or anything?
What kind of message would I want to leave? I think
Yeah.
I would say, I wouldn't even talk about myself as like my identity and my experience. I would tell anybody, whether they've gone through this or not,
Yeah.
to find your own identity. Don't let people define you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's you to define yourself, because if you look for validation in different places, you're not going to get it. It's only you who can tell yourself
who you are.
and decide who you are. If I decide today that I'm something else, I'm a mermaid.
Okay, no. No. Oh, no.
Okay, fine. Okay, truthfully speaking, define yourself.
Yeah.
Don't let other people define you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Can be a mermaid. Thank you so
I
much.
can be a mermaid.
My takeaway from this episode is define yourself. Who you are is independent of anyone's perception of you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag with Navagozi Chwanuka. If you loved what you heard, make sure you subscribe to Hashtag with Navagozi Chwanuka in your podcast platform of choice and share it with your friends. Let them know. I always don't know what to say there. Be creative. Let them know about what connected with you, and be that cool friend. Let them come in. Let them come through, and let them find purpose in you. Yeah, let them. Also, feel free to share your insights about what connected with you on social media, and be sure to tag us. We are at Hashtag on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter we are at HTNK Podcast. HTNK is caps lock and podcast is all in small case, but it's all one word, at HTNK Podcast. You can also reach us on our email, htnkpodcast@gmail.com. Your reviews are welcome, and I really look forward to hearing from you. Catch you in the next episode, and until then, remember to define yourself. Ciao.